For 5 decades, we have heard the same thing. If we want to save our hearts and bring down our blood pressure, we have to throw away the salt shaker. But imagine if I told you that for millions of people, cutting out salt is not fixing the health issues. This is because we are ignoring the real problem. There is a different white crystal, and it is quietly locking our arteries into a state where they stay stiff permanently. You might be in a position where you give up flavor, you cut back on sodium, and you follow the rules. Yet, despite all that, the pressure remains dangerously high. Why does this happen? It is because we have often been fighting the wrong enemy. We have to bridge the gap between the old advice from the past and the biological reality of your body right now. There is a metabolic trap that keeps your arteries stiff, and it keeps your kidneys locked in a mode where they hold on to water no matter how plain your diet is. So please, stick people with me until the very end of this video. We are going to walk through 5 crucial insights. These are building up to a game-changing revelation at number 1. This revelation explains exactly why your pressure might not be dropping even if you are doing everything right. It is a mechanism that most doctors do not have the time to explain, but it is the key to unlocking your health. Just a quick and important reminder before we start. All the information shared today is for educational purposes. Everyone has a unique health situation. So please talk to your doctor or healthcare provider before making any big changes to your diet, exercise, or health routine. This is especially true if you have pre-existing conditions or are on medication. Let us use this knowledge to have informed discussions with them. Now let us take apart this pressure trap, and we will start with a foundational insight that is often overlooked. We begin with something that might seem passive, but it is actually biologically active. That is sleep. This is our insight number 5, the Autonomic Reset Protocol. You might be thinking, I know I need to sleep, but let us look at the specific challenge we face here. High blood pressure is often a symptom of a body that is stuck in fight or flight mode. This is what we call high sympathetic tone. When you do not sleep well, or when your sleep is broken up, your body never gets the signal to switch off the adrenaline and switch on the relaxation response. The difficulty is that many of us view sleep as just resting. However, biologically, it is a time for recalibration. If you are sleeping poorly, your heart rate stays high and your blood vessels remain tight all night long. You are literally running a marathon while you are lying in bed. Therefore, simply resting is not enough. We need restorative and deep sleep to lower what we call vascular resistance. To truly grasp how this works, let us use an analogy. Imagine your body is a high-performance car. During the day, you are revving the engine. That is your blood pressure responding to life. Sleep is supposed to be when you take your foot off the gas and let the engine idle. But if you have poor sleep quality, it is like sitting in the driveway in neutral but keeping your foot slammed on the accelerator. The car is not moving, but the engine is racing, it is overheating, and it is wearing out. This insight about prioritizing deep sleep is simply taking your foot off the gas pedal so the engine can cool down. So, how do we address this? We need to prioritize sleep hygiene not just for energy, but as a blood pressure medication. This means cool rooms, darkness, and perhaps most importantly, checking for issues like sleep apnea. Sleep apnea acts like a turbo boost for blood pressure overnight. When you fix the sleep, you flip the switch from fight to rest, and the pressure naturally goes down. Moving on to our next strategy number 4, the internal pharmacy activation. Let us talk about movement, but not in the way you might expect. The common wrong idea is that we are told to exercise to burn calories or lose weight. And for a senior, that can feel scary or even irrelevant if weight is not your main concern. However, the real magic of exercise regarding blood pressure has nothing to do with calories. It has to do with the lining of your blood vessels, which is called the endothelium. The situation we face is that as we age, our blood vessels tend to stiffen like old rubber hoses. They lose their stretch, therefore, the blood has to squeeze through harder, and this raises your pressure. However, your body has a built-in mechanism to fix this. It is a molecule called nitric oxide. Think of your blood vessels like a series of garden hoses. Over time, they can get stiff and crusted over. Exercise, specifically aerobic movement like walking or swimming, creates a specific type of friction of blood against the vessel wall. This friction is like using a power washer on the inside of the hose. It signals the lining to release nitric oxide, which acts like a miracle grease. It relaxes the vessel, opens it up, and makes the hose flexible again. But you have to turn the water on, meaning you have to move to get that grease to release. Now, when it comes to this strategy, it is especially important for us to approach it with awareness. If you have not been active in a while, please remember to start gently and listen to your body. A simple and brisk walk is often enough to trigger this effect. You do not need to run a marathon. And as always, it is wise to discuss any new exercise routine with your doctor. By viewing movement as a way to dispense your body's own natural medication, nitric oxide, you change the goal. You are not exercising to be thin, you are exercising to mechanically soften your arteries. This brings us to a crucial secret number 3, the mineral balance scale. This bridges the gap between the food we eat and how our body handles volume. This is the potassium-to-sodium ratio. The disconnect we face is that modern and industrial food has completely inverted the natural order of things. We focus so much on low sodium that we completely forget about sodium's partner, potassium. In a natural and whole food diet, potassium is high and sodium is low. But in processed foods, even the ones marketed as healthy, sodium is high and potassium is almost non-existent. This becomes tricky because your kidneys use potassium to help excrete sodium. It is a teeter-totter relationship. If you have enough potassium, your body can easily dump excess salt. Therefore, if you are potassium deficient, which many seniors are because we do not eat enough vegetables, your body holds onto sodium aggressively to maintain balance. Let us use an analogy to make this clear. Imagine your kidneys are a busy nightclub bouncer. Sodium is the rowdy guest trying to get in and cause chaos, which raises pressure. Potassium is the bouncer's helpful assistant. When the assistant, or potassium, is present, he helps the bouncer escort the rowdy guest, or sodium, out the back door quickly and efficiently. But if the assistant is missing, the bouncer gets overwhelmed, and the rowdy guests start piling up inside the club. This creates chaos and pressure. This secret is not just about cutting salt. It is about adding the assistant back into the equation. By eating potassium-rich foods like avocados, leafy greens, and legumes, you are hiring more assistants for your kidneys. This allows your body to naturally lower its own pressure by flushing out the sodium you do not need, rather than hoarding it. Now, we are getting closer to the root cause with key insight number 2, the Fiber Firewall. This insight deals with how we protect our bloodstream from the shocks of the modern diet. The issue arises because many foods we eat, especially refined carbohydrates like white bread, instant oats, or crackers, turn into glucose or sugar instantly upon hitting our stomach. This causes a massive spike in blood sugar. But nature provided a solution to this that we have stripped away. That solution is fiber. This is critical because when we eat these naked carbs, our system gets flooded. Therefore, the pancreas has to scream for help by pumping out insulin. We will get to why insulin is the villain in a moment, but first, we must understand the defense. Fiber acts as a brake. Think of your digestion like a fireplace. If you throw loose newspaper, which is like refined carbs and sugar, into the fire, it flares up instantly. It is a dangerous, hot, and uncontrolled burn that is a sugar spike. But if you add a big and thick log, which is fiber, to that fire, it burns slowly, steadily, and it is manageable. The log prevents the flare-up. This insight is about ensuring that every time you eat carbohydrates, you have a fiber firewall in place. This means vegetables, beans, and whole grains. This turns that dangerous flare-up into a slow and safe burn. By installing this firewall, you prevent the metabolic chaos that forces your body to raise its pressure. It is a simple addition to your plate that fundamentally changes how your body processes energy. And now we arrive at the most vital truth, the game-changing revelation number 1, the metabolic pressure trap, also known as the insulin-sodium connection. This explains why you might struggle to lower blood pressure despite cutting salt. Here is the reality. For decades, we believed that salt raised blood pressure simply by attracting water. And while that is true to an extent, it is not the whole story. The bigger question is this. Why do your kidneys decide to keep the salt in the first place? Why do they not just pee it out? The answer is insulin. When you eat sugar or refined carbohydrates, your insulin levels rise. We know insulin controls blood sugar. But, and this is the critical part, insulin is also a signal to your kidneys to reabsorb sodium. It tells your kidneys, don't let the salt go, hold on to it. Therefore, if you are eating a diet high in sugar and processed carbs, your insulin is chronically high. This means your kidneys are receiving a 24/7 hormonal command to hoard salt. You could be on a low-salt diet, eating barely any sodium at all, but because your insulin is high, your kidneys are desperately clinging to every single grain of salt you consume. You are locked in a hormonal trap. Furthermore, high insulin levels activate your sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight response we talked about earlier. So sugar delivers a double blow. It tells your kidneys to keep the fluid, which increases volume, and it tells your heart to beat harder, which increases pressure. To visualize this game-changing revelation, imagine your kidneys are a bathtub. The water coming from the faucet is salt. The drain allows the salt to leave. Insulin is the drain plug. You can turn the faucet down to a drip by eating low salt, but if the drain plug is stuck closed because of high insulin, the tub will eventually overflow. The pressure will rise, but if you lower your insulin by cutting sugar and refined carbs, you are pulling the plug. Suddenly, the drain opens. The water rushes out, the pressure drops. This is why the healthy diet mistake of eating low-fat, high-carb processed foods is keeping us sick. It keeps the drain plug firmly in place. By addressing the sugar and the insulin, we unlock the kidneys. This allows them to do exactly what they were designed to do, which is to regulate your blood pressure naturally. And there you have it. Our game-changing revelation number 1. It might seem surprising that the sugar bowl is more dangerous than the salt shaker, but as we have explored, the impact insulin has on your kidneys is the master switch for your blood pressure. This is why we saved it for last. It is the hormonal foundation that makes all the other strategies work. So, we have covered a lot of ground today. We started with the autonomic reset of sleep, moved through the internal pharmacy of movement, balanced our mineral scale with potassium, built our fiber firewall, and finally we pulled the plug on the pressure by understanding the insulin-sodium connection. Each one of these is a stepping stone. Which of these insights resonated with you the most? Perhaps it was the idea of the fiber firewall, or maybe the internal pharmacy of walking, or even our ultimate revelation number 1 about insulin. Which one are you thinking of trying first? I would love to hear your thoughts, so please share them in the comments below. If you found this journey through these health discoveries valuable, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps others find our community. And do not forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more powerful strategies tailored for our fantastic group of healthy seniors. Until next time, stay healthy, stay curious, and keep thriving.